Here comes another paycheck. Oh shoot, we ran out of money and another paycheck's not coming for another day or 2 days. I know the stress and the conflict and the anguish that can bring. So we're going to teach you today how to break out of that lifestyle and step into this 6-figure mastermind where you're creating an endless stream of income. Oh, I love this conversation. I love talking about money. I love creating amazing new perceptions about money. And you're here because there are clearly some things that you would love to see level up in your world when it comes to money. So let's have a discussion. Let's open up the conversation and say, how do we stop living paycheck to paycheck? Well, it really takes a mindset shift. If you really want to get nitty gritty with this, I'm going to ask you to do a little bit of homework. In fact, here's what I'm going to ask you to do. There's these thoughts, there's these ideas that we have about money. You know, some people have ideas about money that money is bad or money is hard to come by and there's never enough money, and maybe wealthy people have hygiene problems, like they're dirty, filthy, rotten rich, and somehow like there's all these weird perceptions about money. How can we expect to have great abundance with money and still have space in our head for these ideas? So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Pause this video, and while you're doing that, write down all of the nasty ideas that are sabotaging you about money. Write down all the ideas that keep money away from you and take it outside to your barbecue. Please do it safely and just burn that, because you're not going to get anywhere with those nasty limiting beliefs. So just pause the video for right now, write down all of the stuff that you have come up with you that's negative about money and take it out to the garbage or burn it. Okay, did you do it? Like, I paused for you. So take some time for you and go do it. Okay, now that we're starting with a clean slate, we can really get started here. We wanted to know what is sabotaging you about money so that we can replace it with something better. And the idea here is to, once we create an amazing mindset, we're going to start creating amazing results. So how do we stop living paycheck to paycheck? First and foremost, it does start with your mindset. So start making a list. This is another chance to pause the video. Write at least 10 things that is awesome about money. Things like this. I love how money shows up for me in my world. I do good things with money. I create abundance with money. Money helps me live my purpose. I love taking my family on vacations with money. I love enhancing the lives of others using money by giving an extra tip at the restaurant or by giving a bonus to my employees. I love what money can do for me. I love how I bring people together with money. So write down a list of amazing new beliefs. If you need to rewind this, that's okay. Go ahead, write them all down. Some great ideas about money. That is the mindset. But let's get into the nitty gritty of the skill set. So what does it really take to stop living paycheck to paycheck? I remember when I first got married to my husband, we were living paycheck to paycheck. And what that looked like for us was, our income was really, really low. I think one year we had like $10,000 a year and we thought we were doing great. And if that's where you are, great. If you're less than that, great. If you're more than that, great. I have no judgment of where that was, but that's where we started out. And we would get these paychecks every week. And, we were on the phone with his mother. At one point we were talking about, how's life doing? How's married life? We were brand new married, less than a year. And his mother said, well, how are you guys doing? And we said, we're just, living paycheck to paycheck still and making it work. And then his mom, who had been married, for almost 30 years at that point, said, oh, we are too. And I was like, oh, you mean it doesn't stop? You mean we're going to be living paycheck to paycheck forever? No bueno, not good for me. So I was like you. I was like doing all this research of how to stop living paycheck to paycheck. We could go one of two ways. You could stop living paycheck to paycheck by taking away the paychecks, or you could start living more than paycheck to paycheck. And here's what I did. It's a total mindset shift of living paycheck to paycheck means I'm running out of money before I run out of month, which means I'm running out of my paycheck before I get my next one. I don't have any leftovers for the fun things that I want to do with my life. I don't have anything left over for the play that I want to do or the vacations I want to have, or then I start to get this mindset of I can't afford things, or there's things in this world that I can't buy that I'd like to buy. Maybe that would help me with my goals, or maybe that would help me in my ambitions because I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Well, this new way of doing things takes away all that mindset. Here's what I use as my system for generating income and wealth. The first thing is to have a name for every dollar. And when every dollar has a name, I take into account all of the things that I want to do in my life. So when I do receive a paycheck, I say, oh, I know that 10% of this paycheck needs to go to charity. 10% of this paycheck needs to go into a savings account for, I call it my sleep well at night account. It's my rainy day savings account. I know that 10% of this paycheck is going to go toward paying the water bill. I know that 10% of this paycheck, and it could be different percentages for you. You get to do the math and figure out what your income to debt ratios are and figure out how much of your paycheck you would need to set aside for a water bill or a phone bill. But that's how I've done it. I take certain percentages out of every dollar that comes in. So if I bring $1 in, I know that 10 cents is going to charity, 10 cents is going to savings, and a percentage of everything else is going toward not just bills, not just the cell phone bill, but it's also going toward the stuff that I want to do. I portion a bit of every single dollar so that I'm using what people would only call leftovers later. I make it part of my lifestyle. So part of my income that comes in goes toward the vacation that I'm going to be taking to Costa Rica, or goes toward my trip to see my mom, or goes toward Christmas presents. Crazy to be saving for Christmas presents all year, right? But each dollar has a name, which means each category in my life that requires me to spend money already has a bank account for it. Not a real bank account. I don't have to have 20 million separate bank accounts for all the things I want to spend money on, but I know where each dollar is going, and I set aside a portion of it for every expense that I would like to have. Whether that's a cell phone bill, whether it's a vacation, whether it's Christmas, or whether it's sleep well at night account money that says I have a nest egg set aside in case an emergency happens. That way, I'm not living paycheck to paycheck. Those paychecks are living for me. And I have the money set aside to do what I want to do. I have a date night budget. I have a budget for groceries. I have a budget for vacations so that I have something to draw from whenever there's something in my life that I want to do. One of the other things that I love to do is I love to have what people lovingly refer to as the bucket list. And the bucket list got its name when we decided that dying meant kicking the bucket. I don't know where that came from. You're going to have to do some more research on that one on your own. But the bucket list for me looks like not just things I want to do before I die, but things I want to do to experience life. So I have a restaurant in Chicago that I want to go to with my husband. It's an amazing eating experience. That's going to be a few $1,000s. I know that's going to be $3,000 between the food cost itself and getting out there and getting hotels and all that fun stuff. I've budgeted. I know it's going to cost me $3,000. I know that I'm going to be taking a vacation this summer and that I want to bring my spouse with me. I know that the plane tickets are going to be about $1,000 each, and I know how much the budget is going to be for us to stay there for a week, to be eating, to have lodging, to all of that. I know that's going to be about a $5,000 investment. I know that I want to replace my kitchen countertops. That's going to be a $2,000 investment. I know that I want to take my kids to a equine summer camp. That's going to be $500 per kid, so that's a $2,000 investment. I know what my wants are and how much they're going to cost. And I have them all literally written down. They're on a clipboard in my closet of all of the things that I want to do. Do you remember how we talked about you're going to take a portion of every dollar and put it towards that? That's how we do it. I've got this savings separate account. I've got my sleep well at night account, a literal bank account that I have set aside, but then I have another savings account that I have set aside for all of those things, and I have them prioritized in an order. So I have something on the top of the list. That's my summer trip. I have my summer trip at the top of the list. It's going to cost me $5,000, and I'm gradually taking a bit of each dollar and setting it aside towards that. And not taking this entire paycheck and saying, I'm going to use this entire paycheck to pay for that, because I still have a car payment, a cell phone payment, a water bill payment, all of that I need to make. So I'm taking a portion of it and just gradually feeding that account. Give yourself permission to have desires and feed those desires. Feed financially those desires. I'll never forget this moment that I had from stage once when I was talking to a woman and she said, my dreams aren't worth investing in. I was completely floored by that, because in my world, my dreams and my desires are mandatory. Those are mandatory for me, because why else am I on this planet? Why else am I creating an income? I can promise you it's not because I want to grow up to go pay bills and die. Nobody aspires to that. I want to live life as I go along. That's why my dreams are a necessity for me. That's why I'm living. That's why I have the paycheck, to have the home, to have the family, because I want to experience life together. So give yourself permission to do that. I know I will never ever forget. I experienced last week in Costa Rica a friend of mine who had never experienced the ocean before, had never experienced a beach before. I can remember my first time experiencing a beach, and it was one of the most fantastic experiences I had. And to watch him, young man, he saved up for this trip. He made it a reality for him. He didn't go into debt to do it, and he made it so that he could experience this absolutely beautiful phenomenon we call the beach for the very first time. And I watched him as he dove into the water, and he shared how the salt burned his eyes, and he's got this big smile on his face, and the salt is in his mouth. It's so salty, and there's sand everywhere, and how do you keep the sand from getting... But he's experiencing all the pros and cons of the beach, all with this big smile on his face. And I thought, you know what? It's so worth it. It's so worth setting a little bit aside every month so you can experience life and not wait till your retirement days when you're put out to pasture to experience all the beautiful things that this world has to offer. So please make your dreams a priority. I want to give you a special bonus. To get away from living paycheck to paycheck, create something in your world called passive income. Passive income means that you don't have to trade your hours for your dollars. And you can do that in a myriad of different ways. There's so many companies that will allow you to do that. There's so many ways to do that. You could do it through doing an UpLife supplement. You could do it through creating your own online business and e-commerce and fulfillment centers. There's so many different ways for that. There's so many different resources. In fact, go check some of them out right now. But creating a passive income for yourself would allow you to create this income that happens while you're sleeping. Incomes, checks that get mailed to you, income that comes into your bank account after you put enough of the back end resource and work into it, that will then be an automated machine and work for you. Every millionaire that I've ever met has multiple streams of income. You want a 6-figure, you want to mastermind how to do that, create multiple streams of income for yourself and have a few of those be passive income so the money comes to you on a regular basis without you having to trade hours for it. You know, living paycheck to paycheck, that's a great start. That's a great place to be, and that's a great place for you to express gratitude that you do have an income. The next level up is living life. Live your life. Don't check your bank account, check your dreams. Make those a priority for you. Follow the system and create an amazing reality. Okay, you've got a name for every dollar now. Take some time right now and just create this budget. I don't care if you're using a piece of paper or Excel or envelopes or whatever your system is. Allow yourself to feed your dreams and let those be a priority for you. We will see you tomorrow.